chance. There we go. We should be ready to go now. We have some neat tick-related things that you don't see very often. This is one of the original catalogs they used to make for mailing away for comics, calling them for comics, because they used to do a lot of mail order business. There's the original ad for the Mystic Order of Arachnid Vigilance for Moab. I've actually seen this original artwork in person. I know who has it. Unfortunately, it has a lot of water damage. But yeah, this is a piece that I would very much like to buy. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. You can get t-shirts, you can get all sorts of stuff. Hey Gene, how are you? I just thought that was pretty cool. And then I actually had a couple of the old newsletters. This is actually the third appearance of the Tick. It's the... Yeah. Some people don't know that the Tick first appeared in the New England Comics newsletter, and these were the newsletters. They were little paper pamphlets that they put together. And New England Comics originally had multiple mascots. They had Bobo here. And, there it is. That's that little inset panel. That's the third appearance of the Tick. You can see he's still kind of fuzzy. And right there, copyright Ben Edlund. And then this is a just a holiday issue that the Tick shows up on the cover. Pretty neat. I mean, these were done pretty cheaply, one color. I'm pretty sure this was xerography, just on cheap paper, but it might have been just a one color letterpress. Or what's the type of press it is that does the newsprint? I forget. Anyway, just kind of neat. Some Tick artwork that not a lot of people have seen. I'm going to be working on another sketch cover tonight. This one I've been working on in between stuff. It's some of the animated characters. We got Deflator Mouse, American Maid, and the Tick. I never worked on the show, but sometimes people ask me to draw those characters just to see what my take would be. But you know, you guys have seen all of the other ones. Like this is the Moon Marathon piece. This is the Prophecy of Peril piece. This is In Borneo Reborn, which is like a group shot of our heroes and his pals. So, and there's just a nice shot there of the Tick on the rooftop. Tick and Arthur with a man-eating cow. There's just the two pals out on patrol. And here's one at Chairface Chippendale's evil lair. So, but yeah, I've been trying to get these done for Baltimore. I've obviously had some help promoting that we will be at Baltimore with a brand new issue of the Tick, which is exciting. The copies have showed up where they're supposed to, so they exist. They are real. They are in print. It is a thing. It is happening. So I'm glad to see that the YouTube stream channel is working. That was a little bit of time with the Restream support team. Basically, they were trying to tell me that the way I had done 100 prior episodes was setting it up incomplete, or maybe like setting it up wrong, even though it worked. So this was a whole new way of setting it up. I'm glad that you're there and you're able to watch. This is just another blank that if we get done, I'll start the 10th one. If I can get 10 of these done in time for the show, I'll be happy. I will be, I promise. We're pretty much going to focus on, I'm going to get this out of the way. That's for later because we're going to do some spatter. Get the bag and board out of the way. I want to add just a little bit more texture to the bricks before we get too far along. Because if we do this afterwards, it actually changes kind of the line quality. If you do it before the ink wash goes over stuff, it actually has a nice softness that comes over everything. A synergy that kind of, you notice on the grayscale. Let me grab one here, that's a good example. This one is. You can see that I've gone back in and added more black ink on top of the ink wash, and it actually has like a different quality to it. You can see it pulls it forward even more, like this right here. But if you look at this right here, this is where the ink wash is actually sitting on top of the black ink, and it creates like a different tone. So like this hard outline is more prominent because the ink wash is not on top of the black ink, softening it. So it's just another way of layering with your different translucent media. Yeah, it's something you learn from experimenting. Man, I'm glad the YouTube's working. So we had some good news today with the books showing up where they needed to show up. The new comic books. The book is never done until they show up at the door and you crack open the box and they look how they're supposed to. Anybody who's published their own comics has experienced any manner of ill-begotten things between sending the file to the printer and what shows up at your doorstep. They use the wrong paper, they cut it weird, there's any number of things. So I have not held one in my hand, but I have seen a video of someone flipping through it. So Jeff, the writer, he had one and he videotaped it for me because he knows I'm a worrier. And I would bother him until he showed me what they looked like when he got there. Got to where they were. Hey, an early happy birthday in 2 weeks. That's pretty sweet. My birthday's not till November, so I got a ways to go. I got a lot of stuff to get done between now and then. Hey Michael, how are you? I'm just adding a little texture here to some of the bricks before we put the ink wash on top of it. And we were just talking about how the ink wash on top of the ink is a different quality than the ink on top of ink wash. It has sort of a softness to it when you have the ink wash on top of it. So, but yeah, we can actually just get started on the ink wash. So. Page 8 of your book, nice. Nice. Actually running low, I'm going to have to refill my ink wash, which is kind of a pain because you have to remix your own ink. Let's see if I can get this thing started. There we go. My light source is obviously the moon. Okay, got some ink flowing out of this thing now. There is a lot of tick stuff going on. Gene, you're right. The big adventure yesterday that was out on the West Coast, I kind of had to choose which one to go to. I'm not a wealthy guy, so I had to pick, and Baltimore Comic Con was closer, and I would say that there's more people there, but that doesn't mean that last night's wasn't very, very cool, and that I didn't wish I could have been at both events, because a lot of my friends were there that I haven't seen in some time. Like Gabe Crate, who is another tick artist who I've met numerous times at San Diego Comic Con and stuff. I saw that he was there. He's a really nice guy. I miss him. I did not get to see him last year at San Diego. Eli Stone was there. course, Ben was there, Townsend Coleman. They were all at the event last night, and looked like a lot of fun. They live streamed it. I was not able to stay up to watch it. But Michael, you're always very prolific. So page 8, good on you, man. I do have a finished Undersea Hero page I can pull over here a little later, so you guys can check that out. We'll get an update there. I do keep working on that. Just keep working away at it until it's done. And this is just actually one tone. I use only 2 tones of gray usually. It simplifies it for me because in my head I can remember, okay, I need to do this one and then this one. And it reminds me to use the white of the paper, which is very important because that's my 3rd tone, and then the pure black is my 4th tone. So I have 4 tones that I'm working with on these pieces, and that's enough. That's plenty. You can do anything with 4 tones. Anything more than that, and I get confused, I get lost, I fail miserably with those Copic markers. Awful. I was terrible with them. But for some reason, with ink wash, I do okay. Right now, we're just getting our base level tone down. And, we're leaving white here and there where we know it's focusing on the light source, reacting to the light source. I always kind of thought of the tick as being not super shiny, but not totally matte. I thought that season 2 of the Amazon show nailed the texture on the suit. It was fairly shiny, but it was not like, I don't know, it was not mirrored or anything. It wasn't like you could see your face in the tick suit. I do like to pick some things to leave white, for white space, and I actually think I'm going to leave this smoke white. We're doing fine on our ink wash. I think we've got enough ink to do this piece. I think before the next piece, I'll have to refill, which means I have to mix my own ink, which is a little tedious, but it's cheaper. It's cheaper than those Copic refills, man. Let me tell you, those things are expensive. We've done watercolor on the stream. I just don't do it all that often because of how much time it takes, and I don't think people enjoyed watching like the underpainting process. I know it's kind of like this process, which is kind of boring to watch, but it's necessary. I think I said it last time. I think if I were to, if someone wanted to learn how to watercolor, I would tell them to do ink wash first. So you don't have to worry about color theory. You're just worrying about tonality. You're simplifying, and it reacts similarly to paper. Dean says they got to watch the live stream last night. It looked like a lot of fun. Still need to sit down and watch the Amazon series too. Season 2 is fantastic. Season 1, the first episode was just a low budget, just pitch basically. So I tell people, like, don't judge it by the first episode. The suit looks rough. Peter's great. Peter Serafinowicz, the guy that plays Tick. And Griffin Newman is terrific. He was born to play that character. This is our darker tone. As you can see, I'm just priming it over here instead of wasting everyone's time doing it on the picture. I was actually thinking about watching the old Fox show. I haven't watched it in many years. The one with Patrick Warburton. I was actually on a panel with Patrick Warburton at Rhode Island Comic Con a number of years ago. He loved the show. He loved the character. He wanted to keep playing the character, but when Amazon picked up the show, they wanted to like a clean slate. So I think he was a producer. I think he was a producer on the show. Hey, Isaiah. Yo. Yeah, I thought I would try drawing some of the animated series characters. I get asked to draw them once in a while, even though I never worked on the show. People just kind of want to see what it would look like if I drew them. So I thought in the pre-done pieces for Baltimore, I would do at least one with some of the animated characters. I wanted to get Sewer Urchin in there. I always liked him. I love the episode where they go underground and they find out. I hope when they find out that he's actually really like he's designed to kick butt underground and he's really good underground and in the sewers, like he's really good. They're always making fun of how he's not like a useful hero up above on the streets. What's that? My stream is enjoyable. I hope I have a fantastic day. Thank you. Am I streaming for fun or as a way to monetize your gaming skills? Clearly, I'm not gaming, so I don't know. I have to assume that you're a bot if you're asking me about gaming. It's just a drawing stream. I'm a comic book artist. I like to talk to my friends on here and do a little drawing. I'm lucky I have friends that come see me every now and again. That's all above my thought process. So, Sewer Urchin is awesome. Love Sewer Urchin. On the Fox show, they didn't have Duck Later Mouse. They had Batman Well. And I met the guy that played Batman Well at a show also. And he was just like, he loved doing the show. It was just, he always kind of shook his head because he thought it was kind of a strange character to be playing a strange show, but he believed in how creative and, entertaining and fun that it was. You can see what I'm doing where I'm not going completely to the edge with the darker color, so that way it creates a little bit of a taper. You can see there's light next to dark. Creates kind of a glow effect. Okay, cool. Well, good luck, man. So that press release went out for the new comic, and thankfully, Comic Crusaders grabbed it, Bleeding Cool, and even the convention sent it out on their all their platforms too. So I tried to share and comment and interact with everybody that took the time to say something or whatever on the stream or the posts. So. Thanks to anybody that shared it or posted it anywhere, or even just commented or liked anything that helps get some eyeballs on the fact that we're having this book at the show. And it was a joint venture. Jeff McClelland and I published it in conjunction with AC, but it was really the two of us that made it happen. And also my buddy Tom, who runs the Quincy store, I'm going to shout out to him as well. He's a nice guy. He's supported me a long time. He's actually the guy that got me that Batman cover that I did. So I will forever be in debt to that guy. See, and I like the look of it with just a couple of tones. You know, it's not confusing for me. I can make it work. Don't get bogged down in it. I think I might want to add a little bit more grayscale behind him to have the white punch out just a little bit. It'll help the tick pop. See, if we don't have white on white, then we can bring that back and push it back some. That looks better. And you can see where we let that little bit of white here and here. Now that it's not against white, it makes the character pop a little bit more. Push that back again a little bit. There we go. There's ways of trying to have the figure pull out a little bit more. Just a little water. Don't want to be losing my voice. Let's work on Leader Mountain. He's a little tougher because he's like all secondary tones. Like there's not a lot of pure black or white on his costume. There's like a gray and then it's like a brown. So we gotta think about how to use our tones in a way that makes sense for those areas. I think it's gonna be to completely fill in the gray areas or the brown areas and then use a little bit of dark with them. And then it's going to be for the gray areas to mostly leave it open with just a little bit of shadow. we can actually go back in with just some white tone at the end if we feel we need it. And these water brushes are not that expensive. You can get them for like $7 or $8. I mean, I know that's not cheap, but they last a long time, especially if you clean them and take care of them. This one's starting to fray, but I've been using it a very long time. And then I'll sometimes just go back in and trim them. American made has like white gloves on it, so just go white with the shading just a little bit. My first trip to San Diego Comic Con, there was actually a person dressed up as American made in cosplay, which was pretty cool. Yeah, they work nicely. Yeah. Good product. Good tool. There are some people that ink exclusively with these things. I just don't think that they last long enough for inking. I mean, for a wash, I think it does okay, but having to keep those sharp bristles, I'd be using these things up quick. Yeah, some people do. They really do ink with just those. What's his name? The guy that inks Olive Ramos and stuff, I think uses just those. I have to look up American Mades real quick, because again, I don't. The character I don't draw very often. I think this part's blue. Yeah. You can see my crappy old phone. Yeah, blue, white gloves, and red and white stripes. Okay. Easy. Sorry, I'm doing. Here. I actually do plan a lot of this out when I'm doing the penciling or inking. I gotta plan out the tonality. No, because I'm thinking about light source and those sorts of things. That's kind of what I'm working on as I'm taking those next steps. While that's drawing, go in boom texture. There you go. Now we have to start doing our spatter texture. I just need to get some black paper. I actually think I have some torn pieces here. And we're going to have to do what I call the poor man's frisket. And that's where we just take paper and kind of cover up pieces and then do our little star field texture. So on something like this, we want small dots. So what I'll do is I'll use my old AAA card here. And we'll start up over here because it's an easy poor man's frisket. Now the proper way to do this is to tape it off and cut off little pieces as you need them when you hold it up to the light with your X-Acto knife, blah, 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 blah. I don't think this is worth all that. And what we do is we just hold over pieces of paper. Sometimes I'll use tape to hold things down. Sometimes I don't. But usually I just go like this. You can see it covers up things that we don't want dots on. We can fold pieces in like this. What I do is I just take a free-proof white. In this case, it's a Pentel Presto pen. These are the best. Then we squirt a little bit on my AAA card. And just flick it. Actually, I'm going to do it on this side so that you can't see my personal information. And it takes a little time and a little patience, but it makes a very nice star field. It's a good end product. Some people use, the toothbrush technique. For this size of dot that I want, to me, I find that the credit card technique works best. If you want bigger dots, you can use like a poor man's airbrush kind of thing, where you blow on a brush loaded with ink or bleed-proof white or whatever. You see, there's going to be all kinds of little cut-out pieces that we're going to need to do here, so it's going to take a little bit of effort to get this done. Use a cut piece like this. And we can go back in with some black ink and cover some stuff up. It just helps to, especially over the grayscale stuff that you can't redo, it helps to have some of that stuff covered up. Because you can't go back in and recreate that gray in an opaque capacity. Yes. One more piece. I don't want to get that area right there. And if you get too many stars, or if you don't get enough stars, you can go in and put black ink over them, or you can just always add more. And I gotta get, actually, I think that's part of his cape. Yeah, I think it's part of his cape, so there won't be any there. Alright, we can go here. This part. Alright. I've been doing this so long, I just kind of got a knack for what shape pieces of paper to have ready. And see, like, those are too big, but I'll go back in with this new black ink and cover it up. Yeah, see how thick that portion was? This part, okay, something like this. This is the poor man's first group. And it's not perfect. If you're looking for like to do an airbrush biscuit, you have to do airbrush, like the real thing. You gotta put it down. But for just ink spatter, you can play it a little fast and loose. And now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that we need some stars here, because you can see that comes up like that. So we'll have to go back in here. This one's going to be tight, so let's try to be as precise as we can be here. Somebody watching this nonsense thing. What is he doing? I'm going to start that way. It's coming along. So we need it just a little bit. Just like that. It's coming along. Well, and it just adds so much when you get the night sky in there. It's always a nice addition. People think when they see it, like, oh, it's just stars. It couldn't have taken that long. Yeah, it does. It takes time to do these things. Yeah, I think it's okay if there's no stars like right on top of the ticks and tan. Like in between there, I think we would lose some of our depth of field. There it is. One more. I'm going to cover up this part. Cover up this part. I'm just going to get a little bit more. And after a little bit of practice, you can get a little more accurate with it and be a little riskier with the placement. Oh, I missed this one up. See? That's how we look at these things over and over again. I'm going to cover this part up. Cover this part up first. Someone's going to watch this and go, this man is crazy. Unless he's getting a sketch cut. Well, because I want people to be really happy about getting these sketch covers, and I want them to sell at Baltimore Comic Con. So you can get the smudge out. A little bit of black ink. Yes. Yes. There we go. I want to soften up some of the spots where we get a little too much. A little vanilla. There we go. Brush down a little. Give it in. There's too many, but let's cover a few up like this. It's too close. Just go back in. So if it cuts in where it shouldn't. Too close in. It's rounded over. Yeah, it's a technique I've been using for a long time, especially since I just got tired of doing brisket, which is where you lay down the paper and then you use an X-Acto knife with a light box to peel off the pieces that you don't want there to be spatter or ink. It's not a new technique and it's not unique to me, but it's just something that I continue to use over the years. You know, when you do it digitally, you just hit, you grab a spatter brush and you can go in and just select an area, and it just drops it in there for you. But in this case, we had to do it by hand because this is all traditional inking. There's nothing to keep that way it goes. So we're gonna try to make the tick pop a little by coming back in here. Putting a little ink, just like we talked about it at the beginning of the stream, we're going to put some ink on top of the ink wash. This is the Kiritaki Sable brush pen. I recommend it to anybody who likes to ink with a brush. To me, it's the best bristles that are out there right now. So it's hard for me to always find a brush that I like. I've used the Raphael brushes for a while. I don't know if you saw Doug Paskevich's post about his very expensive Winsor Newton brush falling apart in his hands right after he bought it. When you get used to highly specific and just hyper-sensitive tools, it's sometimes hard to find something to replace it when it changes. And to me, these are the best bristles I've bought in a long time. Better than the Winsor Newtons, better than so many. I recommend them to all of my friends. No, they do not sponsor me. No, this is not a paid advertisement. It's just, you can see every week I use this tool. I take it out every day. I have practiced with it so many hours that I can do pretty much any line I want with it. And some of it is just practice. Like, yeah, you do practice drawings, but sometimes you just have to go in and do practice maneuvers, the way the brush moves, the way, you want to try to do feathering, you have to practice feathering. We talked about this. The tick head always is commenting on what's going on. When you look at these in person, there are different levels of black ink, different levels of white ink, or grays. You'll see different stuff. Like you'll just notice little nuances throughout. That little soft edge of light gray, and it's all intentional. Now, the one thing that's tough to fix is when I smudge into this thing. So the only way I found to do anything with that is to actually go in and do a little cross hatching. So this is what we're going to do next. It's just a cleanup, and it's really just a thing of it. Because I don't like that smudge there. You see that? I don't drag in. So what I do is I like to go and just put in some toss hatching. Toss hatching we've talked about on this stream is a curvilinear method of cross hatching that I like to do. It's a organic form of cross hatching instead of straight lines. A lot of artists use it, like Serpieri, Rudy Nebres, Liberatore. It's a stylistic form of adding midtones that not unique to me, other than the fact that like the way my hand does it is unique to how I hold a pen and how just like someone's handwriting, you're gonna know who did it based on the line. So anybody who knows my work would just see this thing and they'd probably know it was me. Nestor Redondo, yeah, he's another one who did that. Tons of other guests going to be in Baltimore. I was actually just looking at the list today, and John Workman, who's an artist, a writer, but also just known for lettering like most of Walt Simonson's work throughout his career. I would very much like to talk to him at the show. Thank you, Gene. I think my stuff is recognizable, and I don't know. Obviously, I have my influences, but I don't directly copy anybody. So I would hope that people just see my work as mine. At conventions, you always have someone who is just getting into comic art and learning who artists are, and they'll just say, you look like someone that your work doesn't look anything like, but they just don't know yet what to look for. And, when I hear that, I'll if they want to talk, I'll ask them like, oh, tell me more about what you think you see, just to get a better understanding, and then I might just discuss with them about different types of art stuff. And other times I'll just say thank you, because usually it's meant as a compliment. Like, oh, there's this other artist I really like, and you remind me of that, and I like both of them, so like, why would I take it as anything other than a compliment? And to me, this toss hatching covers up where that smudge was, and you don't notice it. At least not nearly as much. You gotta look for it. People on the stream will notice it. They'll be like, oh, it's right there, every time they see it. You can't unsee it now. You all know where the whole smudge is. Just don't tell me, please. There's a little bit of blue pencil that was being a little difficult to ink to erase. I'm just going to put a little bit of white out into here. Just to soften it a little bit. Okay. A little white out here, a little white out there. Got another cover. It's ready for Baltimore. They're all going to be about, I don't know, some will be around 100, a little more, a little less. And they'll be ready to go. So you can come by the booth and just grab one. Should we call it a night? I mean, it would be an early night, but we did finish something. I would be starting from scratch on the next one. What do you guys think? I can be swayed. I think the next one's just going to be taking Arthur, like a dual bust piece, and then like their arms crossed. I'm trying to create pieces that, everybody, who likes the characters, like, would maybe ask for, whether it's the Tick, whether it's Arthur. I'm not trying to, like, necessarily do, sorry, I'm getting this. Well, let me show you the Undersea Hero page. This was the page 36. We got this done. I'm working on page 37. This is where Undersea Hero grabs a fish and hits the spongeman off of Liquid Lad's head, and then proceeds to beat the spongeman with it. And then the fish is just seeing stars at the end. Old gag, but a quick way to dispel with some henchmen. I think we're actually going to call it a night. We finished the thing. It's been a long day, and I would like to go relax. Michael, hope your page is going well, and thank you everybody for popping in. And I look forward to seeing everybody next week. Hopefully, there's a chance there may not be a stream, but I will let everyone know when I'm in. So I'd like for there to be one. But have a good night, everybody. Thanks again.